And a little background about myself: I was previously a product manager at Microsoft. I had worked on a couple different initiatives there around their collaboration suite and their growth team.
Mm.
Afterwards, I was supposed to go to Cambridge for graduate school. And 2 weeks before I went there, I flew out to Boston, spent some time with a friend to see people, meet people, and then that turned into the start of the journey for Fireflies, where we decided to start working on some fun projects. And then we said, let's go full time with it.
Mm.
And we launched Fireflies around that time. We moved back to San Francisco, set up headquarters. And yeah, it's been a roller coaster ride since then.
Let's lean into that because I love that kind of founder's journey, those happenstance meetings, or those holidays that I'm taking 2 months off. Then you meet someone that's just as that's they're building something, or they get you a fire lit underneath in your belly, right? So, what was that chance encounter? Who was it? Are they now still involved at Fireflies? And was this something that you hated doing when you were at Microsoft, making notes during your meetings? So is it all kind of real for you? Like, what's the story there?
Right. So one thing I will say is a lot of PMs have tons of meetings, and in many organizations, a part of a PM's role is to be a glorified secretary after every meeting, sending follow-ups. In fact, some PMs think that's their only job is to schedule meetings, bother engineers, and then have tons of meetings and send follow-ups afterwards. So part of me was like, PMs need to add more value. They need to be actually product driven. They need to be focused on solving problems rather than being an organizational overhead. So that's something that I was really inspired by. How do you change that process of being a really good PM inside an organization? And then that took me to the second order question of, wait, this is all management is. Management is just throwing tons of meetings. Meetings are very expensive. In fact, if you get four people in a room, that meeting could easily cost several $1,000s, right? In terms of
Yeah.
time and sunk cost and all of that. And if someone didn't attend the meeting, you're gonna have a meeting again with those people. So that was really the inspiration, but
Mm.
it was never enough of a problem in my mind to say, hey, let's start a business around it.
Yeah.
So reason it all happened was I had left Microsoft, had a wonderful time there, learned a lot. The next day, I flew out to Boston to spend some time with friends that were at MIT. And the person I got to interact with and work with was actually my current, co-founder and CTO, Sam. So we are very fortunate to be able to start this journey at that time. He was just graduating college, and he's like, "Hey, we have a little bit of time. Why don't you come over here and we can attend a few hackathons or do some work together?"
Mm.
It's interesting because I met Sam while I was in college. I went to UPenn, which was in a different state, and Sam
Yeah.
went to MIT, which was in Boston. But we met through mutual friends, and we actually worked on several hackathons and other engineering projects remotely for 2 years before we even met in person.
Huh.
And so we kept that connection going even after I graduated from my college. I graduated a year earlier, and I was able to just stay in touch with him and other friends while I was at Microsoft. And I said, "Hey, I got a little bit of time before grad school starts." He said, "Yeah, just come on over." And I packed my bags, and I didn't even go back home to California. I went straight to Boston. So
I love that.
yeah, that was really the like the spontaneous moment that led to Fireflies. And obviously, we've had several iterations and pivots along the way before we landed on this voice assistant.
Mm.
But yeah, it's been quite a journey for us, and yeah, we're fortunate to be able to work on this right now.
Nice, and I'm going to keep going deep. And the reason I say I'm going to keep going deep is we've just done a founder's journey podcast that we've been putting together. So I want to keep pressing down here. Was there something? So you were working with Sam remotely. Obviously, you never met him, but was there something that why you two collaborated remotely? Was there a way that you worked that really resonated with him, or is there something like as a CTO, is he a machine? Like what's that relationship like with the two of you? Can you just be brutally honest with him? Like, what is that kind of relationship like between you?
Sam is very social. In fact, he's probably more social than me. It's a interesting dynamic because you would stereotype or assume that CTOs are reserved, a little bit
Mm.
shy, awkward. It's not like that. I think Sam is the life of the party.
Yeah.
He is definitely one of the most engaging and active people. If you're ever at any sort of scene or event, it's very exciting to be around. I'm much more reserved. People don't notice that about me, but I actually am. It takes me a little bit of time to break the ice, but once like I break the ice, I'm my usual self. So
Yeah.
it's a very interesting dynamic for two co-founders. We have actually worked really well because we used to go to class, do our assignments and everything, and then later on at night, like at 9 p.m., 10 p.m., we'd hop on like a Google Meet.
Mm.
We would just turn it on and we would just work. It was almost like having like a little second job in
Yeah.
college. And if we were done with all our club stuff and we had a lot of free time, we would just go and work on different fun activities or projects together. We would basically attend hackathons because there was a little bit of reward money or prize money,
Yeah.
and we were like, let's apply and let's win. So um, we when we first started, the first hackathon we did was actually a food delivery app, very different, right? At those times, using crypto. So we've basically
Okay.
done everything under the sun, and that was really interesting. So the idea was Coinbase came to MIT and gave everyone a few $100s of Bitcoin and said, "Okay, here's a hackathon, build a practical use case for Bitcoin." And
Mm.
so we did this social currency slash food sharing app where people pay each other in crypto for food delivery. And I
Mm.
really wish I kept my crypto or Bitcoin we made at that time because people were literally
Pretty good
paying,
investment. Yeah.
like half a Bitcoin or a third of a Bitcoin for like a $5, $10 food delivery.
Yeah.
So it was wild times, but unfortunately we didn't. Uh, but it was a really fun experience. We learned a lot building that process, and we then started doing other things like drones. So
Mm.
we want to do, like, again, I don't know what it was, our obsession with delivery and logistics, and I'm
Yeah.
glad we didn't go down that route. But one of the ideas was, hey, let's do drone delivery on campus. So Sam's actually an aeronautical engineer, super smart, and he was actually working on autonomous drones and how do you make drones fly around campus and give people tours and stuff. So one of the ideas that originated from that was delivering food
Mm.
uh, to different people on campus. And when you have drones at night that are flying around, they look like fireflies. So we use the name Fireflies for
There
that
we go.
project.
Okay.
And every new project, we've done like 6 or 7 other projects since then. We're like, you know what? Let's just stick with the name. I don't have time to come up with a new logo and a
Yeah.
new like concept. We're just going to use Fireflies for everything.
Love
Um,
it.
and when people ask us, why did you pick the name Fireflies for your, like, Fireflies.ai for your
Mm.
company? I don't have a good answer, but a customer made up a good answer immediately. It's like, oh, it's a firefly. So it's a fly on a wall sitting silently and taking notes. So it's an idiomatic phrase. And I had no idea. So I was like, great, we'll run with that.